Hello, Professor Sobolewski. This is my presentation on contemporary problems for the U.S. families for Sociology 505, Sociology of the Family. So we're going to be talking today with poverty and family dynamics. So the social issue of poverty within the social system of families, specifically in the United States, is one of the biggest social issues facing family dynamics today. Poverty is affecting around 36.8 million people within the United States and therefore should be an important issue for sociological researchers to dive into the consequences of that. The layout of this presentation will include a SWOT analysis focusing on the issue of poverty and its effects on family dynamics. The acronym SWOT stands for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats. Strengths can be defined as the benefits of the social issue, while weaknesses are the costs associated with it. Opportunities refer to specific outcomes that can reduce the cost and prevalence of the social issue, and threats are the outcomes that may increase the costs and population affected by the social issue. So while poverty can be perceived as a disadvantage to family dynamics, there are three main areas of strengths. Firstly, 57% of people who are born into poverty within the United States are found to be at a higher level of income than their parents, thereby showing great upward mobility within impoverished communities. Second, need-based and poverty scholarship offerings for post-secondary education pathways have increased over the years as many colleges and universities state that impoverished students do have valuable perspectives and experiences that could increase the academic culture in said institutions. And thirdly, there have been an increase in public support for federal welfare, such as housing, meal cards, EBT, and disability checks, which will create a better environment for impoverished families to receive needed resources. Poverty in an overarching academic realm has many weaknesses. One explicit weakness is the lack of necessary resources, such as food. So food insecurity is one of the most prominent deficiencies in resources within the United States, with food banks, welfare programs, and charities all striving to create a better environment for impoverished families. Secondly, even though scholarships are available for impoverished students, the educational attainment for impoverished families in poverty is usually lower than their counterparts, such as middle income or middle class or higher class, due to a lack of support systems, financial help, and necessary educational requirements. Thirdly, the quality of family relationships have been observed to be worse in families that deal with poverty, leading to worse mental health within children and adults, and household emotional quality. Perfect. Now, since poverty has such pronounced weaknesses, many sociological researchers have found theoretical and practical strategies to help. Strategies that could reduce the cost and the population of families in poverty would be firstly creating a family dynamic of cohabitation, which thereby creates less equity cost per family member while increasing the number of revenue streams within the household. Secondly, raising the minimum wage in the United States would decrease poverty among families by decreasing the poverty gap. And thirdly, more progressive welfare policies such as subsidized or free housing accommodations and free post-secondary education would decrease intergenerational poverty. While there are many opportunities to decrease the detrimental consequences for families in poverty, there are also many future alternatives that could create a rise in poverty within the United States. Firstly, not all sociological research believe that an increase to the minimum wage would be a good thing. One argues that increasing minimum wage would increase the cost of living, making food, gas, and housing more expensive due to inflation. Secondly, the increase of crime within certain communities has been correlated with poverty-stricken neighborhoods, thereby stating that the increase of crime within larger cities within the United States could increase poverty levels. Lastly, economic uncertainties in future decades, such as the decrease in median wages, an increase in unemployment rates, and an increase in inequality, would lead to an increase in poverty rate among families. Now, while we covered the SWOT analysis of the effects of poverty on families within the United States, it's also important to understand the effects of poverty regarding other social systems. For example, families who struggle with poverty have less healthcare resources due to the commodification of skill within the healthcare field, leaving the population vulnerable to healthcare crises. It is also seen that incarcerations in the United States are at an increased rate among lower economic classes, showing a destruction of future job opportunities and an increased rate of broken family dynamics. Now, while sociological researchers have found certain opportunities that are awarded to families in poverty, many of the threats and costs of consequences inevitably outweigh the potential gain from the positive outcomes. Therefore, with families in poverty facing a lack in resources and an increased barrier into social systems such as healthcare and the labor market, it is important for sociologists to find both academic and practical solutions to minimize the population facing this social issue. I want to thank you for your time today. If you do have any questions, please reach out to me with my academic email. If that being said, I am going to move on to my references right here. These are all my references in APA format, listed A to Z alphabetically. So again, thank you for your time, Professor Sobolewski. If you do have any questions, please reach out.